Hello, Sarah here, parent veteran. Welcome. I just wanted to talk about something that happened yesterday today. So it's not been pre-thought about. I normally don't do a plan. Sometimes I write some little notes down, but this is not one of those occasions. It's more just from the top of my head. So I hope there's not too many pauses because, as you know, I'm not really an editing type of person and it normally just goes up there. But I obviously don't want this to go on too long, so I'll start. So my daughter went to visit a mosque yesterday as part of her topic that she's being taught at schools. They had this opportunity to go and visit a mosque, which is amazing. There were a few children in the class that didn't go. That was their decision or their parents' decision. But I thought it was quite interesting because I think sometimes the children that need to go to these things are the children that are often held back. And it's not that we're religious or that we I'm totally, I don't know how to explain it. I'm not saying that people have to go somewhere that they don't want to go, but it is quite interesting just on a path of discovery and understanding. How do you know what you are or what you're not if you've got nothing to compare it to? How do you learn about the world and the people around you if you don't have exposure? So yeah, I think it's quite interesting, especially if you don't have that exposure at home. It's quite an interesting one. So yes, anyway, so the conversation with my daughter last night, she was reading, she has a little newspaper, I've mentioned it before, it's called The Week Junior. So yeah, she was reading that, and there were several things that we were discussing. She was reading about what happened in Manchester, and it was all kind of broken down into little chunks, you know, just explaining it in a very child-friendly way, but not holding back on the facts. It was using the facts, which is really good, so she could understand. And it got to the point, and it said kind of who did this, and she read and she said, oh, they're called ISIS and they're Muslim. And she said to me, but mummy, they can't be Muslim. And I said, why is that, Emily? And she said, because they're not adhering to the 5 pillars. And I was just like, she gets it. That's amazing. She actually gets it. And she's 9. And it just goes to show that, you know, how important the education and talking about things and visits and understanding things that you're not necessarily exposed to or believe in is so important. And they're not always going to take it from you as the parent if you're just trying to reel off lots of information, and you know, they're not necessarily going to absorb it. But when they're with their peers and they're interested and they're listening, they're going to absorb it. And so yes, I thought it was amazing. She said, yeah, they can't be Muslim because, you know, it's Ramadan. Why would they do this now, you know? And she said about, oh, I'm just trying to think what the other one was. It was not the giving. See, I don't know entirely the 5 pillars, but even though we were discussing them last night, but it was the one where she said about not hurting other people. And yeah, she said, so they can't, because they can't be Muslim because of that. And I thought, good on you, you actually get it. Now share that love, because there are some people that really don't get this. And I'm not saying that I have a huge knowledge of like every religion and that I studied religious education. As part of my masters, I took a unit called Islam and Politics, which was so interesting and insightful for me because I never really knew much about it before then. So yeah, it was a really interesting unit and I got so much out of it. And what I did learn is that the belief system is not any different to the other belief systems. Like, if there wasn't Judaism, there wouldn't be Christianity. If there wasn't Christianity, would there be Islam? They're all very much interlinked and follow one after the other. So it's not that Christians have Jesus and that Muslims don't, and that they hate your way of life, or all of these mad things that I keep hearing about, which could easily be dispelled if people were talking about it, people who know and understand and realise the continuation and can see even the schisms, so like the splits within Christianity between Catholics and Protestants, and what that means and how that came about. Within the Muslim world, you have Sunni, Shia, Ahmadi, and so there's this, and people who are practicing in different countries who are being Muslim, and mixing it with their local cultural beliefs, which is really interesting and worth exploring. So I think if we believe what we're told for the media or the press, and that's what we're passing down to our children, they're never going to really understand, and we're never going to move forward with this. So yes, I just thought, anyway, I was bowled over by my daughter yesterday, and I'm so pleased and proud of her, and she's 9. So that's my kind of thought of today. I am going to be, because the sun has risen, which I'm really grateful for, because it's obviously come up, but it's right in my eyes. So have a wonderful day, people, with the sunshine, and yes, I shall see you on Friday. If you haven't seen my other videos, go back and take a look. But for now, take care. Bye bye.